So, last but not least, yeah, I'd like to welcome Raul, who managed to stay awake until the very last presentation. So, yeah, the floor is yours, and he's gonna tell us about the latest addition to our lineup of projects, which tells you what level you are in your SDV journey.
So before I start, who has already seen or heard about the SDV levels? Maybe LinkedIn or presentations. Okay, good. So then I will be even faster because more or less half of the audience. So let me introduce myself. My name is Raul Latorre. I work at Elektrobit since 2020. And I'm going to present the latest project on the Eclipse SDV. Basically, short introduction. I will mention what was the idea around the proposal and the proposal overview. Then I will take some minutes to explain the levels and then short summary, as you see, quite straightforward, and I hope I will go fast. So how did this start? So basically, yeah, so my colleague, Dr. Moritz Neukirchner, who is the original author of the SDV levels, yeah, got the conclusion, the idea that the SDV term itself has become a bit of a buzzword. And then at the same that it happened with the SAE levels in the past with autonomous driving, that 10, 12 years ago, we were talking about autonomous driving, but then the levels help us structuring it. So he came out with the first concept of the SDV levels. He published it on LinkedIn, and then it got really good feedback from the market, basically. We got requests from different OEMs and other tier ones, other vendors, other companies to use them. Also, we got feedback. So then Moritz, my colleague Moritz, had the second idea that, well, we could do something with this. Maybe it's something that the market could use. And then we decided to start, or he decided to start this new project, and he decided to bring it to the Eclipse Foundation. So again, I will introduce this project, and yeah, I will not read to all of this. You know what are the main reasons why we decided to go with an open source topic. And again, what is the goal? What is our goal? And also the first idea of the vision of this project and this working group. So we would like to have this common language, again, as I mentioned before, similar to the SAE levels for autonomous driving, but from SDV. And we believe that this could be really become like a standard that will help the industry to better understand in which level we are, for which domain, what are the key enablers, the key technological enablers, and that we basically be on one side useful for the industry, and on the other side bringing this as an, of course, it's not a known code project, but it's some kind of standard open source project or standardization open source project to get also all this feedback from the community to make the levels, to craft these SDV levels also in the future. I assume this will also evolve with time, and as it did happen with the autonomous driving. Right? Now we talk about the level 2+ and things like that. So I will do a short intro, and again, I saw that the audience more or less know the levels. So we also, similar to the SAE, we have 6 levels from level 0 to level 5. Level 0 is basically the software enabled. So basically is that the functionality is possible via software. A good example could be, as you see in the bottom, parking assistance or adaptive cruise control. Then we move to the next level, level 1, which is connected. And this is basically the functionality is the same, and basically this functionality is using some information that comes from the outside of the vehicle. It could be so live traffic information or similar solutions. Then we go to the level 2, updatable, which is basically, again, we have the same functionality, but we are able to provide, for example, security patches or keep it up to date, basically. And then we go to level 3, that is the first level in which we are really able to deliver upon the SDV concept, right? That we are bringing new value, new functionalities purely through software. And again, the idea of this is usually connected to one particular car line, but basically through software, we are able to provide new functionalities, new value to the end customers. Next one, level 4, it's the software platform. So here we are able to decouple, finally, hardware from software. And the car feels always new. So we are really able to bring fresh functionalities, and also this platform enable us to deliver, to deploy on different car lines, right? So we have this decouple from one particular project. As it did happen in the past, the software platform will not end with that car line. It will stay alive and support other platforms in the future. So as you probably already see, so the 4 runners in the industry are probably between 3 and 4, and depending on the domains, maybe infotainment, things like that. And to my knowledge, I think no one have reached level 5, which will be the innovation platform. What does it mean? That basically the ecosystem is built, and we use the software platform also, so third-party, let's say, providers, third-party companies, third-party functionalities are able to go into the platform and be deployed and delivered to the car lines, and basically this multi-brand fleet model is established. There are here different discussions about if this will be only applicable, for example, for fleet management of commercial vehicles and never to passenger cars. Well, let's see. I mean, it's the way we are defining the taxonomy today, and it's also an interesting thing to see how the industry evolves. I personally think there is a lot of value on this in the future, but of course the OEMs has the key to that today, right? So again, the different levels. Another additional comment I think I mentioned before. So for a particular car line or a platform, the level doesn't apply to the full car line. So you could have, for example, an ADAS system on level 2, an infotainment system on level 3. So you could have different levels on different vehicles, which also makes a lot of sense, because we were discussing that before in the lunch. Maybe you have some functionalities that basically having them updatable, it's good enough. You will not want to have new features coming for that particular domain in the future. Where when you think on domains like ADAS or infotainment, there is really a lot of more value that we can bring to end customers in the future. And then second part of the taxonomy would be also be the enablers. I will not read all of them, of course, but again, the idea is also to define what technology is allowing us to go to the different levels, and of course it's cumulative. So for level 3, we will need mostly all of that, maybe not all, but that, and again, some key things, so zonal architectures, virtualization, decoupling hardware from software, the virtual testing, and so on. So these are, again, widely summarized the levels as we have them today. And again, a short summary. And when I did this, I think I did it on Friday. So we present the proposal to the SDV steering committee and also to the TAC. We got, I think, the positive answer to start the project, which is our current status, and also with some recommendations from the TAC to potentially move this as a standard in the future. So again, as I mentioned before, the reason why we brought this to this community is because we are really looking forward to also get feedback and contributions and help us refining the levels. And I hope it will be useful for all of us. And I hope that also that the presentation was interesting for you and fast enough. Questions? I don't know.
That's fantastic. We are now only 7 minutes late.
I did catch up.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
I spoke too soon. So maybe just a quick point on what you said. So the project is indeed part under the purview of the working group. There was an email vote, so it was voted at the TAC positively. There was an email vote at the steering committee, so we did things right. And your project is definitely under the purview of the working
Right.
group, so welcome. And I want to say that presentation sparkled quite a large interest at the TAC as well. And yeah, we're looking forward for the discussion to continue around the project.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks again. I also find it very interesting and useful for assessing stuff. I was just wondering, will this slide basically be the artifact that the project is producing, or is
Not
that it?
necessarily. So it's the starting point. And again, it's a working group with a community. So let them decide how they want to process this. So not again,
But at this moment, that's the idea.
because that's the original input that we got, right?
Okay.
That's the starting, but it's like you start with certain code, doesn't mean that you end with the same code, right? So let's see how this evolves. It's up to the working group to craft that. Yeah?
Any other question? Anna? Yeah, so.
If I may very quickly, just a piece of feedback. Given we are an open source community, we work with open source projects. So yeah, again, welcome. But how do you take open source projects into account in this whole picture? So the levels indeed are very much needed.
Really good point. Really
But
good point.
you know, when we talk about open source, obviously you have multiple providers there.
Yeah,
so if we look into the level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, everything is talking about singularity there, and only at the 5th level you talk about diversing
Well,
the software providers.
Not necessarily, and actually this is a quite interesting point that maybe the working group could take. Also, as part of the enablers, we could also reference to the solutions we have today in this community or in other open source community that also enable us to reach some of these levels. And particularly, in my opinion, I think it will be extremely difficult to have a level 5 without a really strong contribution from open source. That's my opinion. But
agreed.
So this, again, and that's why also I put the question mark if how much applicable this will be. And anyhow, I also see that the huge trend also in the industry for level 3 and level 4 have at least a significant contribution coming from open source. So again, what we could do, because again, from here is the typical enablers as you see them are agnostic from, so they are not referenced to any vendor, also not to Elektrobit or to anyone else. So we just try to describe what is the technology, right? Mm-hmm. But what we could also do, I don't know if it could be another part of this, is also help, let's say, for end users to point on the direction of the open source solutions that also fill some of these enablers.
That was fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
And then they will help that.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, because that could be another landscape sort of picture for our projects where you could put your project on what level do you think it will enable it. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for bringing up this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so as promised, I will skip the wrap up because we all want to go get a beer. Just one super quick piece of information. So we skip the wrap up. Tomorrow morning is open collaboration time. I know it was a rush to get through the day. But yeah, so we wanted to give to as many as possible a floor today. Tomorrow is going to be a much more relaxed setup. Which means we'll see all of you who are still here tomorrow morning at 9. We are going to start with the trustable software framework hands-on session and a report from the process SIG. And then we are going to go on with a quick report on the Rust